Welcome back. The next thing we're going to go over is how to make changes to an object in Mongo, as well as saving it and then finally deleting it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to bring back this code that we have, and I'm going to change this from searching for a dog named Andre to a dog named Freddy. So let's go ahead and make sure that we are in fact getting a dog named Freddy. We see that here in the right in the console. And so what if Freddy, we want to change his age? Today is Freddy's birthday, and so we want to reflect that. So we know here that results is actually our Freddy object because we console logged it and we saw that. So if I wanted to change an attribute on this object, pretty intuitively, y'all should guess that I can just do results.age plus equals 1. Right? So this makes sense because results is actually our object for Freddy, and then I'm just going to access his age attribute, which we see here that he has. This is just an object, and I'm going to update it. And so does this actually properly do what we want to do? Let's check really quick. We're back in MLab now, and so let's see. Freddy, he is 2 years old. But he was 2 years old when we created him. So something went wrong here. We aren't actually saving this update, and that's because we're not calling the save function. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to say results.age, results.save. And I'm also, instead of making this +1, I'm just going to make this is equal to 3 so that when this runs multiple times every time I click save, we're not incrementing his age every time. So let's go ahead and try it. Alright, so this just ran, we see. And now let's check. Alright, awesome. We're seeing that Freddy is 3 years old. So let's continue though, because it's not really super practical for me to have to check inside of MLabs when an update happens. So instead, this is going to be our first example of chaining promises together. So the results.save, or really any model.save, is going to be returning a promise. So I can go ahead here and I can say return results.save, and then on the next line I can add another thing here. And so what results.save will be returning is actually an instance of our updated dog, in this case Freddy. So let's give it a try. And so we'll say updated dog, and here we're going to console.log updated dog, and so let's see what happens. And we do see, in fact, that we're console logging our updated dog, Freddy. And so this is now our reference to our updated dog. It's not the same thing as results. It's actually the updated dog from the database. Awesome. So maybe, even though we love Freddy, we actually want to remove him from our database because he's transferring owners or something. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to comment all this stuff out. And we're going to try out a new function actually, and that's going to be dog.find one and delete. And so what we need to do here is pass in a query just like we did before. So I'm going to pass in name is equal to Freddy, and then .then, and then here I just want to console.log Freddy is gone from the database. And actually, let's just be doubly sure about this. So in addition to doing that, oh, I accidentally just clicked save, which means that now Freddy was actually removed from the database. And we see that Freddy is in fact gone. I'm going to go ahead and bring Freddy back really quickly for us. Let me comment that out. Okay, Freddy is back. Alright, so in addition to just deleting him here, I want to be doubly sure that we removed him from the database. So I'm going to do another query inside here. And we're going to do find, and we're just going to search for a name of Freddy. And do .then, result, we'll just console.log the result. So remember, Freddy should be gone. Let's see what happens here. And we see in fact that Freddy was removed from our database. We can tell because inside of our callback here we have our function find one and delete, And then we have inside of here in our dot then, which is actually a promise. I just called it a callback, but it's a promise. So here, this is fired when the find one and delete function is completed. And so we're seeing that come up here in our console. And then we're actually doing another query to the database to look for Freddy just to see if something went wrong, but we're in fact able to see that we're getting an empty array back, which means that Freddy was successfully removed. Okay, that was a lot that we just threw at you. Just a really quick recap of what went on here. I'm going to comment this out so it stops running. So first thing we did is we talked about finding, and we used find or find one to be able to query the database. Once we have an object back from the database, we can just manipulate it just like any other JavaScript object using dot notation or bracket notation to modify its elements. And then we can call results.save to save that and write that back to the database. When we're working with promises, we can actually chain promises together by returning the promise and then having another dot then, which is what we did here to show that results.save, it returns a promise that will resolve to have the updated document. If that's a little bit confusing right now with the promises, don't worry about it. We'll talk about that more later. And then finally here we were able to use find one and delete to actually remove an element from our database. And inside of our promise we were able to use a query to the database to make sure that Freddy was in fact removed from the database. Alright, that's it for this lesson. Thanks guys.